Hello, people of Luland, once again, back on YouTube. Today is day 2 of being 28 years old. Okay. No, thank you for your birthday wishes, whatever. As many do on a new first day of the year. I thought of this yesterday, first day of being 28. You wonder, where did all the time go? Okay. And a lot of it went into looking at crazy sneakers at thrift stores throughout the years. So today I'm gonna go down in history. I'm going back in time from one of the first times I stepped in the thrift store. Okay, and I'm gonna go down the list of the best sneakers I've found in thrift stores. Okay, years of experiences that culminated into me starting the Loose Stuff online marketplace that you know me to constantly promote today. Like the video, leave a comment by the end of it if you have anything to say. I'll appreciate it. And we're gonna start. I'm gonna start with maybe my first trip to a thrift store, which was called Trader K's in Ithaca, New York, where I grew up from ages like 10 to 23. It's not there anymore. It was there a long time, but I guess, you know, thrifting. I don't know where they opened a Plato's Closet. I guess people tried to switch to shopping there, even though they always cost them. We'll get into that later. One of my first trips to this thrift store, I bought my first pair of Nikes since I was a child myself. Or my mom bought them. I picked them out. They were the Nike Skeet. I'll see if I can find a picture. They're not super common, but I liked how they had a chunky tongue. I liked how the tongue tag was pink, even though that didn't really match the rest of the shoe, which is pretty neutral color, gray, brown, black, with the light blue accents. Okay, I had one of these. One had a light blue lace, and one had a black lace, and there's a bit of it looked like a little marker stain, like someone took a black Sharpie and accidentally touched it on the shoe, on the suede part. I could never clean that out, but other than that, they're in pretty decent shape. Maybe not even. I mean, I could wear them. I wore them for many years. So I don't really remember how good they were when I found them, but I decided to get them. Mama liked them. She bought them for me in high school, right before high school. This was like the end of 8th grade. I had only been wearing DC shoes. I was getting her to get DC shoes, and I guess before she thought before I get her to get another pair, let's take them to the thrift store, see what we could find there. And I like these Nikes, so we picked them up. And then in that same way, the next time I was in a thrift store, this could have been the first pair of shoes I bought myself. But an even cooler Nike, an all-white Air Max 95. And these weren't even in the best shape either. I mean, they were white, but they were like borderline. Maybe parts of them were kind of like yellow already. But the air bubbles were in good shape. I was like, wow, how cool. Look at the air bubbles. I had, every once in a while back then I'd been watching sneaker reviews. I had just seen them in a sneaker review. And I was like, wow, an all-white pair, that's kind of interesting. And it kind of looks like a Sketcher, but it's a Nike. It's got the check on it. So back then I was like checking for checks, and I was like, that looks cool. And the air bubble, I had never had Air Maxes like that. So I was like, let me try these out. These look cool. And one of them, when I stepped, it would like kind of, whoever had them before me had a weird foot thing where they pronate. Like one foot would, when I would wear them, one foot would go like this, but the other one would go whoop. And that never happened with any of my other shoes, so I've got to chalk it up to the last person. Maybe they were kind of worn in weird. Not the best pick looking back, and in a second you'll learn why. But regardless, it was still a pretty great shoe. It was all white. I've never been able to find these since. I've looked them up because they weren't just an all-white Air Max 95. I mean, they were, but on the bottom part, like on, I think that little like part that looks like the air unit in the middle, and maybe like somewhere else on the outsole, it had all this motivational shit written on it, like probably words like run and determine and go get it or shit like that. I haven't been able to find that exactly since then in my research. And this was early on in my career, one of the first pairs of Air Max 95s I found. So it could have been a fake colorway, I don't even know, but it felt real. Looking back at all my other Air Max 90s I've worn since then, felt the same as those. I wore them for, here's the funny part though, back then they would, those little guns that shop owners can use to like click that little plastic ring on for a price tag, paper price tag. They would do, that's how they did it, paper price tags, and they would clip to the, hold on. If you like these Air Forces, you can buy them for cheap on my shop. I'll put a listing up. But back then, they're so white. They would take this gun and they'd clip this little plastic like zip tie thing. You know, it was like a little ring like this big to like the lace right here with the price tag. So this is when I got the bright idea to think, ooh, let me see if I can just return these later and get my money back after I wear them. You know, maybe if I keep them clean. So I would just take, this is the first time I thought to take the price tag, which was right here, and I folded, it was like about this big, little paper. I just folded it up in half, like a hot dog, and then I folded it again like a hamburger, and I stuffed it in here, okay? And so you could kind of see the plastic, you know, but you couldn't see the price tag. And that is how I wore them for a year. I wore these Air Max 95s for a year with the little paper price tag tucked in, but you couldn't really feel it, you know, when you walk. But it was there for about a year, and you know, I would wear these for kind of whatever. I'd be running around on the lawn, I'd be running around the neighborhood with my friends. I don't remember ever stepping in mud with them, but I may have. But you know, I tried my best not to. Back then I was really, you know, trying to take care of my shoes, and I probably cleaned them once or twice, but I don't even remember cleaning them. But I kept them clean because I knew, let me try to return these. And I sure enough went back about a year later. Once I was sick of seeing my foot do that weird thing. I thought they looked weird when I walked because whoever fucked them up before me. So I was like, let me see if I could trade these back for a full refund and then use that money, store credit, to get another pair of sneakers. And that's exactly what I did. Shout out to Trader K's. If anyone else lived in Ithaca and did this ever, let me know. It worked for me. I don't know if I ever did it after that, but I definitely did it that time. And so I'm at the desk downstairs. The men's shoes were upstairs. I go downstairs. I trade them in. I get my credit, and I might have just said keep it on my tab, or they might have given me cash. Said they give me cash. I put the cash in my pocket. I go upstairs. What do we have for shoes? Cough Drop Foamposite 1s. Nike Air Foamposite 1. Cough Drop color. Okay. This was one of the first ones of these I've ever seen. Probably the first one. Maybe I went on to see a lot of kids wearing these at school because it was, you know, cold and rainy and snowy up there all the time. All these dudes that were selling drugs had all these Foamposites. It was crazy. But I don't think I had ever even seen them before this. This was my first. I saw them in high school. This was the first. This was like summer before my freshman year in high school started. And I was like, what a crazy looking shoe. This is a basketball shoe? What the fuck? But it, you know, it had all the Pringle. It was like ripples on it. The wavy waves. I've never seen anything like it. This is the first Foamposite shoe. I know there's a lot of Nike Foamposites and like sort of different ones. This is the original one. And one of the cool colorways, you know, one of the more subdued colorways, but it had that shiny red sole. The sole was red. If I remember, I know I had the icy sole, but it was one of the only ones with a red sole instead of a blue sole. And it wasn't yellow. It was, you know, and it wasn't like, it might have still been shiny. Okay, the shoe wasn't like an immaculate shape, but it was pretty damn good. I wanted to buy it. It had a little, you know, a little piece of dirt by the Nike check on the red part. But I wanted to buy it so bad, but I was a size 9 at the time. Or I thought I was like a 9.5. I was still buying my shoes all 9.5. And these were a size 10. And I probably tried it on, just a little big. But fortunately, I put them down, and then what do I find right next to it? In a size 9.5? The Air Griffey Max 1 Platinum, which I had to put on this list because it was a great shoe throughout the years. I did buy it for about, oh, by the way, these and the Foamposites, I think the Foamposites were 35 bucks, and then I bought the Griffeys for like 30 bucks. And I still have them to this day. I wore them many times. Check this out. Boom! Okay? And I mean, I'm not going to say this is how they looked when I got them at all. They were like, okay, just for starters, okay, last time I wore them, I went to go play volleyball, so it was sandy, but no sand. All these pads that are gone, they were there, okay? And they weren't like, the sole wasn't flat. Like, you could see the pads sticking out when I got them. The sole was in good shape. Okay, it wasn't worn down at all like this. And this is after about 10 years of wearing these. Not more than that. I found these in fall of, or summer of 2011, I believe. And I wore them countless times. They turned to my beaters fast because they didn't really, you know, after the first time I stepped in mud or whatever, I found out they were pretty easy to clean. Look, they're still clean. I wore them so many times, the check is starting to, the material's just starting to peel off, and it wasn't like that rough on them ever, not on this part of the, I don't know if you can see that, but it's sort of, there's some cracks there. But dude, these were in immaculate shape. I remember, I've lost the insoles since then, but they came with insoles as well. And even though they were kind of a half size too big, when I get another pair, I'll get a 9. This is still the only pair I've had, but because the sock liner's so tight, I wore them many times. I didn't even tie them. You know, they were kind of loose if you don't tie them, if they're a half size big. I'm not gonna lie. It's not that snug. But, you know, I would just tie the laces up to the top and let the strap kind of do its thing when I was walking around. If I wasn't, like, playing basketball, I would just let it hang. But then, you know, if you need extra support, they're super great shoe. It's like a cross-training shoe made for, like, indoor baseball, I think. So you can play baseball in them. Definitely played basketball in them several times. And, dude, the air bubbles still intact. Even though that sole's wearing down in the back there, still got all the Air Max bubbles, okay? Look, a little cracking going on here. You could see heavy wear. Heavy, you got some stains. I don't think, maybe, nah, these were not even there when I bought them. These were basically in like 8.5 to 9 out of 10 shape. Aesthetically, these looked amazing. They were super silver. None of these creases you see were there. The only thing was, they stunk. They smelled so much like cigarettes. They must have been smoking cigarettes in their house every day and like just blowing them in the shoe, dude. They might have been somehow smoking with the shoe. I don't, using it as a bong, dude. They smelled, they reeked. For the first few months I had these, dude, I could like smell cigarettes damn near when I was sitting down and I just had them on my feet. There were no cigarettes anywhere nearby, no other cigarette smell, it's just the shoes. I could smell my shoes like when I was just wearing them standing up or sitting down. It was almost that bad. It's like, it wasn't that bad, but like when I first got these for the first few months, if I held them up like this, I could smell cigarettes. And then if I held them like this far from my face, I could probably still smell cigarettes. And you know, my family didn't even like cigarettes. That was before I ever started smoking anything. I hated it, dude. And no matter how much, we would get these sprays. Mama would get these sprays because, you know, as a kid, I would eat a lot and take monster dumps. And we had a small bathroom that I would share with my mother and my sister. And she would get these sprays from Target that were like super potent. You know what I'm talking about? Let me know if you ever had these in your house. You spray them so that the bathroom doesn't smell like shit. And it's super potent. It just, you spray it just once because you can immediately, like, you get gassed by it, like a gas chamber. But I would spray that over and over in these like every day before I like went to bed. And I would just like put them off to the side. I might have done it, I might have like left them outside and stuff to like get the airflow of the natural wind. But it just didn't work for the longest time. And then eventually, like, I don't know, after getting them like soaked in the rain or something enough times, or just, you know, eventually the smell just leaves the shoe. Eventually, I'm glad to say, now they don't smell like cigarettes. And now the inside doesn't even smell bad. And I've worn these a lot. I've sweat in them. Kind of surprised actually, but yeah, dude, and it's a good shoe. If you couldn't tell, what I'm saying is, it's super durable. I mean, this is the wear after the better part of what? How many years is it? 14 years. And I got them used. Somebody was wearing them before me. I part of why I bought these, I went go-karting shortly before I found them at the thrift store, and I saw some guy wearing them, just chilling with sweats, waiting for the golf cart line, and I was like, damn, those are pretty cool, and they look great, and these might be his shoes, who knows, but yeah, dude, I mean, there's nothing really wrong with it. I never really wear them because every now and then, like I said, I played volleyball in them last year, but they're so much looser now that I don't, somehow I had these in a storage unit for a while and I had somebody go get a bunch of shit, including these. I don't know if they took my insoles or at some point I took the insoles out. I don't even know what happened, but neither of them have the insoles anymore, so they're like extra loose, so I don't really like them. I like a snugger fit, but you know, I've kept them to this day. If you want to buy them, I guess you can. You know, you might have to give me a special gift as well as a small payment. You can have these for $30 just because they're so special to me. I know that's kind of high price, you know. Look, the sole's not even separating. I sort of thought it was, but I don't think it is. Got a little mark on the silver, but other than that, the silver part is, it's still, look how shiny it is in my light. I love these shoes, man, after having them. And this is just a good, fairly new, kind of flashy because it's silver, but other than that, good. It's kind of like an all black. You know, I've worn them like that, or, you know, I don't wear anything too crazy with them because I want that silver to pop out. But it is kind of an odd silhouette too if you're trying to wear like a plaid button-up shirt or something. They're kind of, that always felt weird. I would just usually wear them with sweatpants though, or like just some jeans, cargo pants, and like some cool t-shirt type of deal, maybe a solid polo shirt, you know. A lot of sweaters I wear them with the Champion hoodies. This is like all I wore when I was younger. But yeah, that's a great shoe for sure. It's helped me a lot, you know. I've ran around, fucked around with my friends a lot in those shoes. Hung around with my first girlfriend, wasted a lot of my youth in those shoes. Alright, the next shoe is the Nike Air Max Penny 1. Okay, here's some actual pictures of the shoe I took right in the thrift store because I was so amazed. I didn't end up buying them, like you can see. Wish I could have, but kinda, not enough to buy. I don't even know if I bought anything that day. That might have been the day I bought the Griffies, but anyway, that's the actual shoe I found. This is a picture of the whole shoe, and it's just another one of these, you know, Penny Hardaway is responsible for getting Nike to make this shoe as well as the Foamposites I mentioned earlier, so shout out to that guy. Never seen him play ball. That was before I was conscious, but great shoe. I like the purple as a Phoenix Suns colorway. Shout out to the Phoenix Suns. Not sure how they play nowadays, but I don't even know if Penny played for the Phoenix Suns, but I know that was a cool colorway. I've always liked purple. I remember I had a shirt, see if I could find a picture, I'd bought from Target around the same time. And I was probably thinking of that when I was wishing I could get these shoes, and it was the same kind of color. It was orange. It was like a Family Guy shirt. It had Stewie with this big head on it. It was a little bit of purple, a little bit of orange, and anyway, yeah, I could see myself thinking of such an outfit. But anyway, a cool basketball shoe. It was kind of like a low top. Never had seen a low top basketball shoe back then, or like a mid type. Like it wasn't that high, but it was purple. It was orange. It was crazy looking. I liked it. Had the Air Max. Didn't buy them. Moving on. 7 years after I found the Penny 1s at a different thrift store. This was after they opened the Plato's Closet, and I'd started shopping there frequently, and prices had started going up for you know, thrift sneakers at this point. I found another pair of the Penny Foamposite 1s, this time the rust pink, a newer model, in way better shape. Rust pink. I found these for about, I think I bought them for $50 from the thrift store, but they were brand new, as you can see in the pictures. I didn't take a picture of the bottoms, but the bottoms were clean, icy. You can kind of tell from this picture. And you see I sold them for $115. Boom! Double profit. You know how I do. Usually I don't make that much money, actually. That was one of the best shoes I ever found in the thrift. I wore them once to play basketball, and I was like, I better make some money out of these. These are fucking expensive. I paid a lot for them. So yeah, even then I've been thinking, you know, and that was in 2019. I sold them to a coworker of mine. Yeah, beautiful shoe. Kind of like purple. I like pink too. Most dudes don't wear pink shoes. Sometimes they do at this point, but back then I hadn't seen anybody rocking them. It was kind of like an alternate to me of a Foamposite that had came out earlier when I was in high school that I couldn't afford. The pearlized pink, which was an even pinker version, but I was like, shit. Like, you know, a lot of other people that wear Foamposites probably speak like, I was like, you know, who knows if I could even pull off such a pink crazy shoe. This one's more subdued. It's still bright though. It's like the color of salmon kind of. I like salmon, and I like this shoe, so I bought it. And you know, I was ready to wear it, but I sold it, and I'll probably buy it again. It's so cool. Or maybe next time I'll buy the pearlized pink ones. But yeah, great shoe. Didn't really get to wear it. More recently, I've actually bought Foamposites and worn them a little bit, but still not even too much, because the next two Foamposites I bought this year, which I'm not going to talk about because I bought them from DEPOP. Maybe I'll make another video about cool shoes I bought from DEPOP. This video is long enough, but I barely haven't even worn Foamposites that much because every time I buy them, they sell immediately. So I list them immediately, and some random person miles away says, let me buy those, and I ship them in a box. Anyway, that's why I don't have Foamposites right now. But let me know what Foamposites you like if you want some, and I'll try to hunt them down. What size you want, what color you want, Anyway, the last coolest shoe, spoiler, I've found in the thrift store around the same time as I found those foams was my first ever pair of the all-white Air Force One lows. And it's this same shoe, okay, it just started looking like this. There's a picture of what they look like more when I first got them. They were even cleaner than they were in this picture when I got them in late 2019. And this is what they look like now see how they're still so white up top? The bottom's cooked. Okay, but it's because it's my first pair of Air Forces since, honestly, the first pair of Air Forces I ever got, the first Nike I remember ever wearing was these in 3rd grade. I got mama to get me these, except they were all white. I didn't color on the swoosh like these. Okay, this, but all white. Okay, with the strap, I thought they were so cool. But obviously that was in 3rd grade, and then I just went on to wear not Nikes for years until, like the shoes I started talking about in the beginning of this video. But this was the first pair of low top Air Forces. First pair of Forces I found the whole time I was in high school, going to thrift stores all the time, that were not only in my size, but they were like clean and they weren't creased up. I found a couple pairs of Forces, but it was just not. I remember I had a red and black pair I found one time I almost bought, but I found these, size 9, which is actually, you gotta go down in Air Force. I'm really an 8.5, but I didn't know. I put these on, I tied them up real quick, and I thought, yeah, they fit. And for years, they looked great. For years, they looked awesome, like in the picture. They looked like this. For the first like 3-4 years I wore them. I obviously didn't beat them up, but I wore them quite a bit. And then, as time went on, I started wearing them more and more. It's a all-white shoe. It looked good with everything, so it's comfortable. And I just started wearing them all the time. I moved into the Lou van. I was living in my van, traveling around. This was one of 4 shoes I bought, one of 2 nice sneakers I brought with me. And I started wearing them more and more. And then eventually, by the time I got here, they were getting kind of creased up. And then at some point I said, fuck it, dude. I made a video how to unwhiten the soles, or how to re-whiten the soles after they were yellow. And I was like, great, they're white again. And they still look pretty good then. But then, 2 days later, they turned yellow. And then shortly after that, I was like, fuck it. And then one day I ended up taking out the trash in them and got them kind of dirty. And then I was like, fuck it, these are beaters now. I'll get another pair for you. I already had these, which are in much better shape, as you could tell. Got some creasing going on, but these are like my nice Air Forces now. I don't really care if the sole looks yellow. It does make them look a little less clean. But if you really look, they're in good shape, all right? Not really the bottom. And these are for sale too if you want to buy them. I've put the picture up. But yeah. Only time I found super clean, super crispy, not creased Forces. They were not creased at all. The opposite of what they look like now is what they look like when I found them. And that's it. Those are the coolest shoes I've found and purchased. Well, I guess I didn't purchase all of them, right? But those are the coolest shoes I found at the thrift stores throughout the years. It's been a fun ride. Now I'm 28. It started when I was like 12, I think. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I didn't mean to yap so much. Maybe I'll write a script next time, because this is a bit arduous. I feel I'm like tired from yapping. But shop blue stuff. Let me know what your favorite shoe was. Let me know what your favorite thing you found at a thrift store if you want. If you're looking for any shoes in particular, you don't feel like taking the time to shop, let me know what you're looking for and what size. You can DM me at LouStuffThrift, and I'm here for you. I bet I can find that. I bet I can find it for a low price, and so you can get it for a low price from me. And then, I don't have to work a job. I don't have to do that much Uber Eats. I love you guys. Lou Stuff. That's it. More videos coming soon. Jesus loves you. Whatever you're going through, you can make it through, because big man in the sky has got you. There's not a big man in the sky, but that's how he's been depicted. He's here for you. So have faith. You're never alone, even if it feels like you are. Pray and he will provide. Okay? And yeah, more on that later. Love you.